I just explained in another video what's going on in flash trading and why it's going to accelerate the end game. So I'm going to give a little history that before the Federal Reserve existed, they were put in place in 1913. There was a stock market panic. It was called the Panic of 1907. And at that time, there was no central reserve. So banks, like for instance in New York, had their own reserves within themselves. And there was a company called United Copper Company at the time, and there were some people who tried to corner the market on that stock. And there were a number of banks within the New York City system that lost the confidence of their depositors when that didn't come about. And so there was a run on their bank. And that led other companies to outside the New York area to pull their reserves out of these New York City banks, and the panic spread. And at that time, one of the chief financiers in the United States, J.P. Morgan, put his own money on the line, and for a while, the situation solved itself. But in November, the panic had begun in October. It began again because there was a company called Tennessee Coal and Iron Railroad, TC&I, and their stock collapsed. And Morgan's U.S. Steel Corporation, in a move that was approved by Teddy Roosevelt, came in and solved that problem too. And the people that were in charge, including Senator Nelson Eldridge, the father-in-law of John D. Rockefeller, decided that they need to make sure this never happened again, and they instituted the Federal Reserve System. Now we're about 100 years past the Panic of 1907, and the whole situation is beginning to happen again with the flash trading in the bond market. And it will lead to a panic at some point, just like the Panic of 1907. The Federal Reserve decided that they were going to try and stop the natural system of recessions and contractions and expansions. It's always happened throughout history through this Federal Reserve. And what they're in the process of finding out is, no, you can't stop what's natural. And in fact, what you do when you try and stop what's natural is you create a worse situation.